Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci's his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He's the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jera. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jera Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How did he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. You know, with his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station, a guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. That guy hasn't come back, by the way. Just so you know, people still ask, where is that guy, Rod? I don't know. I guess we scared him off. Welcome inside the RP Show. Very big day. I'm excited, and in a second, I'm going to tell you why. For a few reasons. I'm in the Florida studio, and it's game day here in Sunrise. The Boston Bruins are in town. And we got Stephen Ellis coming up from the Hockey News. Daily Faceoff now, formerly the Hockey News. And Ryan Malone, Pittsburgh Penguins great. The Moose is in Toronto. And Moose, before I jump into what we do here, 2 hours of the greatest sports talk you're ever going to hear. It's Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show on Game Plus Television, also airing on 31 U.S. states on Game Plus. And we're on the radio in Atlanta. Rhino Radio, are you there? I haven't heard from you for a while. He runs WQEE Radio, and they give us 2 hours a day, noon to 2, and I haven't heard from the guy lately. So I guess that means no news is good news. How are you, Moose?
I'm doing great. It's a gorgeous day. Sun's shining. Life is good. Yeah, I'm good today. Really good.
Good to hear. The sun is shining and the birds are singing in Moose's world. My thing, can you hit the quick six show horn, Director Jordan? I'm gonna call for it.
Let's go.
A little later too. But number one, my guy Jersey Jim, he's coming down here. This is something you all need to know. I only know a few Canadian people, I could count them on one hand, who would do this, but a lot of Americans do. Jersey Jim's coming here tonight to go to the Panthers and the Bruins. He's a Devils fan, but he's just missing hockey so much, and the Rangers tickets are so much, that cost too much. He bought a plane ticket, a hotel, and he's coming to the game. I'm going to pick him up, and we're going to the game together. And son, me and Jersey Jim, I've never actually met him in person, so I'm excited about that. That's one. Two, we had a couple of viewer-submitted pictures from yesterday. Jim Young wrote in, and I couldn't believe it was the same guy. He signed his text, Jim Young, 30. I'm like, I've seen that before on the wall of BC Place Stadium. Hall of Fame retired number receiver with the BC Lions, also played for the Vikings. Can't be the same guy. Oh, yeah, it is. And we ended up texting back and forth after the show, and he sent this photo, Darren. Hall of Famer. So for our BC viewers and friends, there you go. Jim Young, number 30, not interested in being referred to as Dirty 30, which some nicknamed him. He wouldn't. Look at him. Look at the fire in his eyes. That's what you need to know about Jim Young, one of the all-time greats. I'm sitting there going, I've been at alumni events with you, Jim. And this is how we meet virtually. Thank you for the kind words, which, by the way, we can put Moose back on. Ron Vizzuti has written in. He's watching in Vancouver. He wrote in at 902-518-3033. He says, hey, Ron from Vancouver here. I, too, agree with Jim Young's text to you yesterday. We love the show. I believe he is the Jim Young, CFL Hall of Fame wide receiver for the BC Lions, who retired in 1979. And just on another BC vein, there's going to be a lot of Vancouver and BC talk here today. My guy Dallas Robinson sent this photo in. Investigative reporter, he went down to the Boston Pizza in Penticton where they had the Let's Go Oilers sign. Due to public outcry and backlash, Canucks fans, they were shamed into changing the sign. And Clark's just flipping the photos. You have it, right, Clark? This is Dallas. He took the selfie in front of the Boston Pizza. He said the owners of the Penticton Boston Pizza are Edmonton-based. I think maybe specifically Sherwood Park or St. Albert, but let's just say Edmonton. They didn't realize what a crap storm they were going to start by putting up the sign saying, Let's Go Oilers, supporting the Oilers, whatever it said. So they changed it. They're not doing any interviews. They've had a ton of requests from the media, including ours, and Dallas is like, no, they're not doing it. So Dallas, he's like, here's your reporter, over and out. Dallas Robinson reporting live. I didn't know Dallas real well from his days in the Queen City, but what I knew about Dallas is he's cool. And I told him to be watching today, so he's helping us out there. So how about that, man? There's some God shots for you just in the last 24 hours.
That's pretty good. That's like Abe Simpson walking into the burlesque club and seeing Bart at the coat check. Walks in, puts his hat on the thing, turns around, picks his hat up off the hook, and walks out the door. That was the owner of the Boston Pizza. Put up the sign, realized it was wrong, turned around, put the sign down, and went back out and business as usual. So it's funny. I hope everybody can have some fun with it, and this is better for his business.
Well, I hope we can forgive some misgivings. I mean, I screw up, my head's cut off, my hands are whacked, my fingers are whacked. Like I hope he gets away with it that easy. I think he is. I don't know what that's like. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? We'll put Mickey Mouse in with it. Thank you. So we open with NHL leftovers. Just hold your bingo cards, everybody. We're going to get to everything. Vincent Trocheck scored a power play goal off a rebound at 7:24, the second overtime, to give the New York Rangers a 4-3 win over the Carolina Hurricanes Tuesday night, and a 2-0 lead in that second-round Stanley Cup playoff series. NHL radio pundits this morning saying that was the best game of the playoffs so far. Percolate on that in your mind. As I read the Dallas score, Miles Wood scored on a backhander, 11:03 into overtime, and Colorado, after trailing by 3 goals in the first period, beat the top-seeded Dallas Stars 4-3 in the opener. That second-round Western Conference Series. Cale Makar had a goal and 2 helpers for Colorado, while Valerie Nichushkin had a goal and an assist. So we got thoughts, obviously. I was 0 for 2. I whiffed on my picks, whatever. It's called sport betting. It's like sport fishing, where they throw the fish back. We bet, we don't put money on it. It's great. It's not the greatest game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The greatest game is Colorado-Winnipeg. Game 1, 7-6 Jets. That's just my opinion. This one it was good. I watched it, but it wasn't the best. That's my thoughts, NHL leftovers. You?
I think it might have been the best game last night. I watched just about every minute of it. It was fantastic. But again, it's like asking which is your favorite kind of flavor of pizza. You know, we can all agree it's all pretty good, you know, and just because you say one's the best doesn't mean the other one sucks. But
Right.
Man, was it good. And I wasn't looking too hot on my Avs bet last night on the sport betting, going down 3-0. But you knew they weren't going to go away. Just like in game one against Winnipeg, they made that game respectable and kept pushing back, and then eventually took the rest of the series. But that New York-Carolina game was fantastic, and a tough penalty call. I get it, and a tough goal for Freddie Anderson to give in. He'd been pretty good. So was Shesterkin. But those two games were great. Florida-Boston, maybe not quite the same, but everybody talked about and has said this Vancouver-Edmonton series is going to be so far and away the best series of the second round. They got some work to do tonight. We know it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But that New York-Carolina series, to me, has just been awesome so far.
Don't get your hopes up too much, everybody, because that's the thing with expectations. They become impossible to meet, and you're inevitably disappointed. Let's just take it as it comes, see how it goes. I'm sticking with the Jets-Avs game one still being the best. I'm with you. One thing I've learned, write it down, everybody. A lot of you aren't going to get it now, but you will in the years ahead. That's what I've learned. Where I've evolved to is I can disagree with you, but I'm not going to stand and shout it in your face. I used to. I don't anymore. I'll still disagree. I'll just smile and nod or walk away. Let's all be friends. If you can do that, you'll be a lot happier. So moving on to point 2 of our Quick Six show topics, it is the Vancouver Canucks are set to host the Edmonton Oilers for game 1 of their second round Stanley Cup playoff series. By the way, there's not one announcer on the air right now, not one, that even remotely touches the way Bob Cole said it. The Stanley Cup. Not one. The Canucks got past Nashville in 6 games to set up the all-Canadian clash with the Oilers, who put away LA in 5 to advance in round 1. It'll mark the first playoff game between Edmonton and Vancouver since 1992, when the Oilers bested the Canucks in a 6-game set. Our poll question today isn't related to that, but if you go to our Instagram at The Rod Pedersen Show, you can bet or vote for who you think is going to win tonight. Over 90% saying the Oilers are going to take game 1 on the road in Van, and you can put me down for that. I don't have a dog in the hunt, and that's going to make it real nice. I don't care. So I will pick Edmonton to win it they're favored by the odds makers too, by the way. But let's just break it down to game 1. Can you see Vancouver winning? Are you one of the 8% that doesn't think that does think the Canucks will win?
I'm gonna put my vote with the Edmonton Oilers. I have Edmonton winning the series, so I'd like to see, if I'm going to win the series bet, you got to get out to a good start. But I see a lot of paths to victory for the Vancouver Canucks. They play a completely different style and a different game than the LA Kings do. The building is going to be raucous. It's going to be awesome in Vancouver. The fans are going to be loud. And if Vancouver can find a way to stifle McDavid, Draisaitl early, you won't keep them down for the whole game. And if you can find a way to get up in this game, I think there's a lot of paths here for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't think it's quite that cut and dry.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Not having Thatcher Demko doesn't help. As was referred to on NHL radio this morning, the Canucks are the new kids on the block. We've talked about it a million times. We'll talk about it 1,000,001. If climbing the mountain to get to the Stanley Cup and winning it is climbing a mountain, the Oilers are here and the Canucks are here, right? That's the way it's supposed to go. That you can ask the Tampa Bay Lightning, you can ask the Colorado Avalanche, ask the Oilers of the 80s. Edmonton's just a little further down the path. They've got the battle scars, the wounds, So, yeah, I think they'll win the series. And, again, I don't care. It annoys me that the Oilers' fortunes affect my life because Serena's mood is dictated by them. But I also can't control that. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. By the way, I want to tell you how much it meant to me that Jim Young would write in Dallas, too. Guys that are sitting there in BC that love this show and just writing in and saying that. It just tells me that we're on the right track because sometimes you don't know. So we're going to talk about what's hot. And I'll say it again, that the Cats and Bolts podcast, this week's show that Serena and I do, has dropped. We keep the Florida NHL talk there. We keep the Canadian sports talk here. Everybody's happy. And if you want to jump on and watch both, that's great too. But we're going to do us. So that includes point 3. I can't have spent 20 years in the CFL and not talk about it. You know what I mean? I have thoughts on the CFL as a whole, but with regarding point 3, it's massive. The football people are talking about it. And by the way, rookie camps open today. The Canadian Football League suspended Toronto Argonauts quarterback Chad Kelly for at least 9 regular season games following its investigation into a lawsuit filed by a former strength and conditioning coach amongst both the player and the club. Kelly is also suspended for Toronto's 2 preseason games for violating its gender-based violence policy, the CFL announced. Chad Kelly will be required to undergo confidential assessments by an independent expert and attend mandatory counseling sessions conducted by a gender-based violence expert. We'd heard a suspension was coming. We didn't know it was going to be this long. I'd heard 4 games, and I got to let myself off the hook for a second because I said, what could the CFL do? I don't know that you could have a third-party investigation. Lawn guy's here. Didn't want to tell me that he was going to show up today in the middle of the day. Darren, lawn guy's here. Just put that out there. So they had an independent review. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm not an HR expert. I'll only say this. I don't argue with any of what the CFL is doing here. I've said it many times. It's a highly delicate situation that I want no part of. But a football friend of mine here, pretty big name, tweeted, have they lost their mind by suspending him? And I'm like, I wouldn't say that, but you can. I don't want to touch it. Chad Kelly's gone for half a season, although an HR professional said to me, if he finishes this counseling sessions and everything ahead of the start of the season, they could find a path for him to play. I don't know. I'm not an HR expert. You must have thoughts.
Yeah, I don't see any situation, not one, where the suspension goes away. You know, no matter how fast he goes through the program, and all the rest, I don't see any situation. I see if he doesn't go through the program and come away with it on the other side, the suspension can end up being longer. I don't know if that's going to be the case either. I know there's a lot of people jumping on saying Chad Kelly will never play in the CFL again. I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case. If that was the case, I think you would see, the Argos release Chad Kelly. And maybe that's coming in the next few weeks. As they assess their options here and what he's willing to do. If he's willing to go through all this and, admit some wrongdoing and have that and then work to come back. If he's not, then I think he'll get released and we'll probably never hear from Chad Kelly again. But the league clearly, obviously didn't take this lightly. A 9-game suspension doesn't just come out of thin air. And, I guess at this point, while we gave them we criticized for no action or no communication of the action. We applaud them now, or I do, for at least taking some action now after they've done their own investigation.
Well, I wasn't criticizing them, but here comes Long Guy, so if you pay close attention, you might see him. Just every day, every week, a different time. You'd think there would be a schedule, but whatever. I wasn't criticizing them because I'm not an expert in this field. The one thing that annoyed me, I'll just say that I'm a CFL guy. I opened up yahoo.com this morning. First thing is where my email is. And headline, this is U.S. Yahoo. Former Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly suspended for sexual harassment scandal. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. What's that meme with Jim Carrey? I think it was from Me, Myself, and Irene. Oh boy, here we go. I'm like, this... Yahoo and USA Today will always latch onto the negative headline. And that's the thing. I've said it a million times. I hate when the news and the sports crisscross. It's not supposed to be that way. So with the CFL, and I'll get to those thoughts, what annoys me about them coming back after the break, plus Blue Jays and Dub final and more. They aren't the culprits here. Chad Kelly seems to be. I don't even know the guy, but amid their investigation, he's the culprit. Not the CFL. So don't dump on them because it's the cool thing to do because everybody's dumping on them. The thing that I don't understand, and I haven't spoken to one of these guys, but Pinball Clemens, John Murphy, and Ryan Dinwiddie are all long-time really good friends of mine. And I don't think they would back a POS. There's still a lot here that I don't quite get, but we got all summer to figure it out. We'll be right back after this opening break. We're in the Quick Six show topics of the warm-up live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues on a Wednesday, and hey, it's that time of week to rustle up a date and head on down to your local Landmark Extras, Landmark Cinemas. But before you do that, sign up for Landmark Extras. You can do it for free. It's just a rewards program. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. You're going to go to the movies anyways, and why not get more of what you love? Free movies, concession items, invites to cool events. Trust me, Moose and I have done it, and we've been to those cool events. I feel, Moose, you and me being there is what made them cool, but whatever. LandmarkCinemas.com for details, information, sign up. And, yeah. What are you laughing at? What do you think?
You're right, man. The movies, I can't wait to get back to. I haven't been to a movie in too long, and I can't wait. Got to get back to the movie theater because it's the best.
Last one I went to was Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
There's a mother-in-law joke in there somewhere that I'm not willing to say today. Let me just pause and bring in a couple viewer questions and comments. This is great. Buffalo Bill writes in from North Dakota. He says, greetings and hallucinations from overcast 55-degree Corinth, North Dakota. Can the Boston Pizza in Penticton put up a Go Oilers sign when they advance? Does Kevin the Medium have a medium view? Thank you, Buffalo Bill. Can you put that photo up? Not of the sign, but of Jim Young, please, in the BC Lions jersey. Again, Jim Young, 30. Hall of Famer, for the love of God. Thank you, Clark. I sent that to Kevin the Medium because he's from Vancouver. He's the guy that told me there's a G in Vancouver. It's Vancouver. He's from there. He goes, that's... Kevin the Medium lost his ever-picking mind. He's like, yeah, that's my favorite receiver of all time, Jim Young. I'm like, I knew you'd like it. So, yeah, look at the fire in his eyes. Darren, that doesn't ever go away. You could have white hair and not be able to get out of your chair at that age as a pro football. But the eyes don't change. Lawn guy. A couple more. Yeah, well, they want to talk about Chad Kelly, of course, and that's cool, but we got to get to the other topics. Bryce Harper hit a grand slam and had 3 hits. Christopher Sanchez pitched 7 strong innings, and the red-hot Philadelphia Phillies routed the Toronto Blue Jays 10-1 on Tuesday. Philly is leading baseball with 26 wins. Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk each doubled for Toronto. Jays have lost 6 of 7. They visit the Phils this afternoon, and what we're finding out is, I'm really realizing this, we only follow you or get interested when you win. You're welcome. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And that includes the Moose Jaw Warrior. Point 5, Lyndon Lakovic scored 36 seconds into overtime to lift the Moose Jaw Warriors past the Saskatoon Blades 3-2 and into the Western Hockey League Finals on Tuesday. The series went to overtime 6 games across its 7-game series, including the last 2 in which the Warriors had to win them to advance. And now they do. They're taking on Portland. I guess it opens in Moose Jaw Friday night. There are people writing in. I'll just say this from the 902 Sober Carpenter text line. Rick Sawatsky in Martinsville says, congrats to Moose Jaw. What a great series. Only complaint, is there no hitting in junior hockey anymore? Did you just start watching, Rick? That's been the case for at least 5, 6, 7 years. That's not, I'll address that, but not now. Way to go, Moose Jaw. Sorry for the Blades. That's your team. That's a bitterly crushing defeat for them. As elated as Moose Jaw is, that's how broken the Blades are after that loss. And temporarily, but you know what I mean.
Oh, of course. One of the best series that we've ever seen, junior hockey series. Never has a series gone 6 times to overtime out of the 7 games. That's as good as it gets. The Blades will be disappointed because they're a really good hockey team that, would have done very well at the league final and potentially at the Memorial Cup. But these things happen. Sometimes you're good enough to win and you don't. And one of these teams had to lose. But what a series. Moose Jaw traveled well, too. That's going to be awesome and electric to have a league final in that building, too, in Moose Jaw. So congratulations to Mark O'Leary and the Warriors for grinding out a great series win.
There you go. The Moose Jaw Warriors on the way to the league final against the Portland Winterhawks. I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if Moose Jaw was still wearing those old Moose Jaw Canucks jerseys, which were identical to Chicago, and Portland wearing their old jerseys identical to Chicago? It would look like an inter-squad game. I know I'm the only one that thinks about that kind of stuff, but Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, and he says, every spring since 1966, Go Blades Go has become Gone Blades Gone. Can you hear him? You can see his head
a little
just
bit.
by.
That's the one time we could really hear him. First time.
Wednesday, 12:26 Eastern. I would like to say that's the time that he would come every week. No, it's just whenever he feels like it. Jen at the Four Seasons has showed up. She says, quite exciting hockey last night. I would say congrats to Moose Jaw, but you know, Pat's fan here can't do that. LOL. I guess it's my own fault that I'm doing the show from my backyard. Did you see him go by again? I don't know. You heard him, obviously. Like, literally no F's given. I've told them, just tell me, and I'll be prepared. No, can't do that. Hang on. A few things. Listen, we got 2 solid hours here to get through all of these topics today. We've talked, Jen, about the Oilers in Vancouver tonight, Game 1. We don't really need to get into how long the series will go, but all the odds makers have the Oilers favored to win. I'm starting to wonder why they're even playing the series. So we've addressed that. There are, by the way, 2 games tonight. Boston and Florida is the other one, which I'm going to. Jersey Jim's coming down. I feel like nobody really seemed to think that was a big deal. That Jim would buy a plane ticket, book a hotel room, and buy a ticket to go to a Stanley Cup playoff game to watch 2 teams he doesn't even cheer for. But I'm picking up at his hotel in Plantation, Florida, and we're going to the game together, and we're going to have big fun. I don't know. I feel like that's admirable, a little loony. But as he said, why not, right? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. Why not? You know, you want to be a part of the playoffs. I mean, we do it as Canadians that don't have an NHL market necessarily in their city town. We'll fly to different places and watch a game because we don't get it. It's a little different when you're in an NHL market and you can go to the games throughout the year. It's a little less special, but it is still the playoffs. And you know what? When you're a hockey guy, you just want to be in the hockey rink. So good for Jim.
Well, that's what I think. But it's, you know, we had Joe Madden on here the other day, and she said, you know, she lives in Calgary or just outside Calgary. And she said, you wouldn't even know the Stanley Cup playoffs are going on in Calgary because Flames fans aren't interested. And she's out and about. She goes, pubs, restaurants, the game's on. They don't have the sound up. Nobody's even watching. And you do you. I'm not even going to judge whether, but I couldn't really do that. That's not why I'm not going so deep on the Moose Jaw Saskatoon thing or the Dub final. Is it's really huge in those markets, but in the other markets they don't really care. So the Calgary thinking isn't indigenous to them. There are others that feel that way. Just with regards to the gentleman Rick in Martinsville who says, do they not hit in junior anymore? I had to make a conscious decision. And I've been out of the league for a while. I mean, you and I went back together and broadcast in the bubble for a whole season, but I don't feel like that counts per se. But I had to think long and hard about whether I was going to continue to be a junior hockey fan because they don't hit. And I just want to say it was like 5, 6, 7 years. It was pre-COVID anyways. And I decided that I was going to still be a fan because I love it so much. There are other sports that if I had to make that decision, I probably would not continue to watch them. But hockey, I have to. It's in my DNA. It's like breathing for me. But I don't like that they don't hit, especially in a damn conference final. But that doesn't surprise me either. What are your thoughts on the lack of physical play in junior hockey?
I love the game so much that, you know, the game to me is always great. So over time, it happens, you know, so gradually that eventually the contact's really gone. But I love the game so much that I don't even notice it happening, you know, that I don't really notice. I know if you don't watch all the time, if you don't go all the time, you come back to the rink and you're like, oh, this isn't what I remember from the last time I was here. This is different. But when you go so often, it's so gradual, you don't realize it. It doesn't bother me. The skill's at an all-time high. I've accepted it's different than it was back then. There are things that I definitely miss about those old battles and the way the game's presented and played and all the rest. But I've accepted that it's changed, and I still love it.
Well, I'll say again. Oh, John, says, how can you not hear the lawnmower guy? Go ahead, punk. Cut my lawn. Utah Darren says, Rod channeling his inner Clint Eastwood. Get off my lawn. I don't want to go much. The lawn guy, he's He's a little simple. So that's why I don't get real mad. You know what I mean? He's a little simple. So I'm not going to be that guy. Bully him. You don't have the reference point of the 80s and 90s where it's an absolute bloodbath, though.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. That's what we'd like to see. Like, my God, during COVID when they showed the old playoff games. Ron Hextall, from back here, Kent Nilsson, the back of the legs. My God, they'd have thrown him in jail now and thrown away the key. I don't even think he might have got 5 minutes. Maybe. I think 2. So the game, you don't notice it till it's 40 years later and you're sitting on the couch during COVID with a pizza. And you just, Ron Hextall just
wasn't that
like
funny?
A lumberjack, whack! And it was like, it was like watching Halloween.
They actually did that in the game of hockey. But I think we go back to
playoff, Stanley Cup final.
We go back to whatever, and I would think this is pretty universal. Whatever era you grew up in, and whatever moment you fell in love with the game, that's what you always want the game of hockey to be. That's what you always want it to be. So what I want hockey like it's the late 90s. That's what I want. I want late 90s hockey back and the early 2000s where Yzerman could score from just inside the blue line with a big slap shot, or, you know, the goalies were making ridiculous saves and Hasek's flopping around and it's unorthodox. That's what I want. You know, if the 80s is what you fell in love with, you know, that's what you want. And everybody is a little different in that way. But I think that kind of holds true.
Well, you know, we got to older people like me, and what I've noticed is a lot of older people watching the show. We got to adjust to so many things. I'm just trying to prioritize. I will adjust. But I can only adjust to one thing at a time. Like when the Panthers and the Senators had a brawl. Oh, my God. It was the first time ever that every player on the ice got kicked out. I don't even think there was a punch thrown. They all got 10 minutes and got kicked out of the game. And the next morning with my coffee gang here, last night the Panthers and the Sens, the first time ever. I'm like, sure. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
You bet.
Stephen Ellis is in next from the Daily Faceoff. Leafs content as well. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seat Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV.
Eugene there as he's lit up by Constantino. Miller, beautiful pass, beautiful wing, what a goal! Shot scored! Oh my, big save there!
The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seats Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
A lot of great things going on today, everybody. When we chat hockey, as you know, it's from Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. They know the best beer is the one that's earned. A text has come in from Robbie Swallow, my buddy from the Queen City, big Bruins fan. He writes in on the Sober Carpenter text line. He goes, if this series goes 7, I might have to book a flight and hotel too in Sunrise, as long as you can be seen with a Bruins fan. Great night of hockey last night. Can't wait for the games tonight. So much fun watching the games and seeing my kids fall in love with the game even more as we watch them together. Signed, Rob in the Queen City. Come on down, Rob. This is probably going to go 7. Stephen Ellis joins us from the Daily Faceoff, by the way. He's all over the place, all over the coverage of all things hockey. Stephen, welcome back to the RP show. Just checking your Twitter here, and you're all over the draft lottery last night. What's cap of what went down in Secaucus, New Jersey?
Well, I think if Chicago picked first overall, I think people would have lost their mind. So I think, for the sake of the hockey community, it was maybe good that didn't happen. But to see the San Jose Sharks fans celebrate like they did was a big deal, because that's a franchise that had never picked first overall. They get a guy that grew up not too far away. His dad's involved with the Golden State Warriors. But to see that happen was cool. I think for me personally, I put a mock draft together. I didn't have to touch it because nothing changed in the draft order. I think if you're a fan, that was about as anticlimactic as it gets.
Yeah, for sure. And for those that don't know, we haven't even talked about the draft lottery yet. Steven is all over it with the Daily Faceoff. The San Jose Sharks won it. They had the best odds to win it. And they did. Macklin Celebrini is the top prospect. Stephen just all said it. He's from there largely, and his dad works for the Golden State Warriors. To me, that's kind of proof there that there's hockey gods. Like, the odds of them picking a local boy and being from San Jose are pretty high or low, however you want to look at it, right?
Yeah, you don't get that often. Obviously, this is something where they've got a guy who's, again, he's technically from Vancouver. That's that's where he spent a lot of his life. But the fact that that's where his family's, or that's where his dad works, and they got the connection. It's a pretty big deal, and it also shows you just how important growing hockey in these places are, where the Arizona Coyotes are gone, but the impact of having Arizona hockey has been noticed the last couple of years. And the same goes for California and places like Anaheim and San Jose, where they've built these really good young minor hockey programs. Celebrini played for the San Jose Junior Sharks. Like, to now get that opportunity to play with the big team in maybe next year, that's exciting. That's cool. That's what you like to see.
You just said maybe next year. And let's be honest, he's great. He's no Bedard. We all know that. And there was some suggestion that he might go back to Boston College next year this morning on NHL radio. And this is hockey guys talking about it. Reporters that work in hockey. What are the chances, do you think?
Well, put it this way. You say he's not Bedard. I'd say he's more well-rounded than Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard's got more pure skill, and I'd still be picking Bedard. But what Celebrini is able to do, like he put up potentially the best freshman season ever seen in college hockey at 17 years old. He'll become the first Hobey Baker winner to go first overall. He was the first 17-year-old to win the Hobey Baker as the best college player. This guy's the real deal. And, talking to people who really say like his best comparison is Sidney Crosby. He surpassed the Jonathan Toews suggestion from that was kind of heading into the season there. He's that good of a player. And it's a disappointment we're not going to see him at the Men's World Championship to see what he could do against, pros. But the one reason why I think he might not go is, if Will Smith decides, because I think the real key thing here is Will Smith, who just had an unbelievable season with Boston College. He's San Jose's top prospect. He just led the NCAA in scoring. But right now, there's questions of whether or not he'll turn pro. If he doesn't, Celebrini, I'm not sure the point in rushing him. Let him go out there, try to chase that national title of Boston University. He's going to have Cole Eiserman there next year. They're best friends, so that'd be pretty good. And that opportunity for him to go chase that would be such a big deal. But no question about it. If he's on San Jose next year, he's their first line center. He's that good of a player. He's going to make the same impact that Bedard did this year. So he's ready for the NHL. It's whether or not that it makes sense for everybody. I'm leaning towards him being there in the NHL next year. But of all the teams that were picking that had a chance to pick up first overall, San Jose was the one that concerned me the most just because they're not close.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind saying Stephen Ellis is a prospects expert. I'll call you an expert, so you do know what you're talking about. Offense sells tickets, though. I'm a huge Bedard guy. You know that about me.
Yeah,
what about this with Cole Eiserman? Well, before we even say that, the World Under 18s, you were all over that. Were you there?
I was in Finland for 2 weeks.
Yes, tell me about that, Turney.
First off, reindeer, very tasty food. If you get a chance to go in Finland, try their long drinks. That's their big drink of choice there. In terms of that, weather was good, hockey was good. Canada ended up having a pretty dramatic victory there. Taking advantage of a late 5-minute major from the Americans. And Gavin McKenna, a name that's probably been thrown around a few times. He's a distant relative of Connor Bedard, but he goes out there. He's one of the best players in the entire tournament. James Hagens on the Americans, a top 2025 prospect, actually just broke the scoring record of this tournament. So lots of records being shared, a lot of fun. It's a good tournament.
So to the Cole Eiserman thing of Team USA, I don't even know where I'm picking this stuff up, but I heard that he referred to himself in the third person. This is Steve Eiserman's kid. I don't know any person that refers to themselves in the third person that isn't a raging jerk. So straighten that out for me, please.
So Cole is one of the most confident prospects I've ever talked to, and I love those comments from him. It's like, Cole Eiserman went out there and broke the scoring record from the U.S. National Team Development Program. He had to go past Cole Caulfield to make that happen, beat out Austin Matthews, the best goal scorer in the NHL right now. So for him to do that is extremely impressive. And he did so with guys who, as line mates, who might not get drafted till like the 4th or 5th round. It wasn't like he just cruised to an easy, record. Like he had to fight for that. I like him. I think a lot of people are concerned about his lack of defensive play, but he's physical. He threw some major hits. He's pretty exciting out there. And to clarify, his last name is spelled with an E-I-S-E-R, man. So it's not related to Steve Eiserman, but I know the Detroit Red Wings would be pretty happy to get him.
Where do you have him in your mock draft?
I have him at number 10 because I know he's probably not going to go as high as I have him. I think he's a top 5 prospect still because a shot like that, that's a 50-goal scorer in the NHL one year. And I can't remember last time I saw a guy who could shoot like that. Maybe Alex DeBrincat a couple years ago, or I guess now a while ago now. But his shot's unbelievable. So I think he should still go high.
Okay, so false alarm. It was on the radio. I heard them talking about Cole Eiserman of Team USA, and I'm like, wow, who else would you think it is? So, if nothing else, you straightened that out for me, Stephen. Okay, man, let me just say this. Your take on the Leafs? What's wrong with the Leafs? Can you do that in a minute or less?
It's funny, you asked me this last year, and I said the same thing. It's coaching, and to me, you need to win. Well, your core players need to show up, but when they're not scoring, they're getting shut down. You need your other guys to step up here. And you look at the Vancouver Canucks. Elias Pedersen is not having a great playoffs here. Do you know who is? Dakota Joshua, like a guy that you wouldn't expect. You need to be able to have that scoring depth, and that's something that Toronto's really lacked. But then also the ability to adjust and change things when it needs to happen there. And that's something that's been a really big issue here with Sheldon Keefe. So I think you got to make a coaching change at the bare minimum. Whether you make the president change or not, who knows, with Shanahan there. I think you still got to keep that core four together, and I know that's getting pushed to death, but you're not going to win a trade for Mitch Marner. You're going to trade him away, and you're not going to get any value near what you're going to get there. Worst case, he leaves in a year when he's a free agent, and you just start fresh with that cap space. Or you do the same with John Tavares. But the minute you start trading these guys away in the salary cap world, you're going to lose that trade, and that's going to come back to haunt them. You're not going to make a better team trading Mitch Marner away, and you're not going to get the same value for John Tavares. So that the core four's got to stay there, but they got to figure out the defensive side of things. They got to figure out who that number one goalie is, and they need a new coach. If that's Berube, that seems to make the most sense to me. Do they maybe go off the board? We'll see. But I'm not sure I'd want to coach the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Some people do. There's no accounting for taste. Steven, we covered it all. Thank you, brother. Enjoy the hockey.
Thanks so much.
The Daily Faceoff, Steven Ellis. We'll be right back with a sports update and a viewer takeover right after this on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest head pins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, a quick one. Producer Clark tells me. Let me just read a text. I said viewer takeover. That's always fun, isn't it? Seeing what you have to say. 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. They present our text line. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. Don in Saskatoon writes in regarding the Leafs, and he says, "Hey, Rod, Don here again. What did I tell you the other day? Matthews plays, Leafs lose. Matthews out, Leafs win. I wasn't drinking. Leafs have the Harold Ballard curse." I'm not going to say. You intimated that Austin Matthews had done something wrong and was being scratched for disciplinary reasons, and that's why I accused you of drinking this early in the day. But you know what? Maybe he was. What the hell do I know? I have never in my life seen anything like this Leafs mania where people just go goo-goo gaga about it. Yeah, I actually have the Dallas Cowboys, and both there's no answer to it. There's no end to it. It's exhausting. Sports update. How about the NBA fans? Are you here? Jaylen Brown scored 32 points. Derek White made 7 3-pointers and added 25. And the Boston Celtics powered past the Cleveland Cavaliers 120-95 in Game 1 of their second-round NBA series. Meanwhile, Hamilton's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 29 points to help top-seeded Oklahoma City beat Dallas 117-95 in Game 1 of their Western Conference semifinal series. And Denver Nuggets guard Jamal Murray, you know him, right, the Canadian, has been fined $100,000 by the NBA, but avoided a suspension for what the league described as, quote, throwing multiple objects in the direction of a game official during live play. Murray threw a towel and a heat pack onto the court from the bench late in the second quarter of Denver's 108-80 loss to the Wolves. You know what I'm realizing here? Jamal Murray fined $100,000 for throwing a tantrum. Chad Kelly and what he's doing suspended half a season for his actions. It's now being left up to the leagues to parent these players because their parents clearly didn't do it. That's my sense. Throwing a tantrum. I kicked a hole in a wall at our house when I was like 14. Normally, my mom would handle that. That day, she said, I'm going to leave this one, and we'll leave it for your dad to deal with.
Oh, no.
I don't kick holes in the wall anymore.
Hot damn.
Sports Update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas Friday, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Director Wes Ball breathes new life into the global epic franchise set several generations in the future following Caesar's reign, in which apes are the dominant species living harmoniously and humans have been reduced to living in the shadows. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes in Landmark Cinemas on Friday. Hour 2 coming up right after this brief pause on Game Plus and Key Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Watch for it. Watch real close. Watch. You're going to see Lawn Guy. You see him moving around? Yeah, there he goes. You know what? It's a good day for self-care. And there he is. I can tell you exactly what that is. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, everybody, here on Game Plus Television. WQEE. It's a running theme through the show. I kind of feel like that's what makes this show popular. Is Moose there? Did I ask for him? I can't remember, man. I got a guy chopping leaves and lawn next to me. Okay, I'm sorry. Self-care is what makes, one of the things is just what makes you happy, Darren. And I'm going tonight to Game 2 of the Panthers and the Bruins. And my buddy Jersey Jim's flying down here from New Jersey. We're going to the game together. I'm picking up at his hotel, and it makes me happy. And the point is, when you're frustrated and things are out of your control, like a lawn maintenance guy that shows up at all hours of the day, different days during the week, in the middle of your show on national television and local radio in Atlanta, it could upset you. Or you know what? Let it go. Let it go. Go to a hockey game tonight, man. What's better than that? Right? So there you go.
Hard to beat.
No charge. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah. Listen, I have a comment here from BW in Edmonton. He says, why so much Leafs talk? Let's find out more about Why the Newfoundland Growlers folded. Hashtag squirrel moment. Dude, I don't get it either. That's the one thing that I don't understand. It's the Rod Pedersen show. How do we get sucked into talking Leafs all the time? Other than I'm surrounded by Leaf lovers, yourself and Clark. God, it's got to be painful, isn't it, as a Leaf fan? It's got to be painful. Tell me.
What's painful?
You're not in pain that your team is being laughed at every year and can't advance? Are you being serious right now?
Yeah,
Or you're
seriously.
loving being a Leaf fan? No,
seriously. Honestly, where should the pain come from? The reality meets the expectations every year. There should be no expectation for the team to win the Stanley Cup. Where if you're a Leaf fan, hasn't happened since 1967. If I planned my life and my happiness around thinking that they were going to win the Stanley Cup, that would be on me to be, if that's going to drive me nuts, So, expectations are every summer you're going to get your heart broken, or every spring you're going to get your heart broken if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. And reality tends to meet that expectation.
Is that where you're at?
It's different. I'm not. I think as a sports fan, I don't think we ever get to that point. I think sports fans are always, all in, and you invest and then you get broken for sure. But I can't consider myself in that same vein working in this business in the media. I don't follow the teams and cheer for the teams the same way that I did before I got into this business.
Well, yeah, I don't really. But the thing is, it sounds like you're where I am with the Dallas Cowboys. I've just within the past couple of years, I'm like, my expectations are done. I don't expect them to get to a Super Bowl. It's drama, and it's painful if you let it be painful, which is what I kind of think you're saying. You're not letting it be painful, but it is for a lot of people. Two things. John Ohm says it's painful being a Blue Jays fan these days. Oh, boy. Glenn in Medicine Hat says Maple Leafs since 1967, Blades since 1966. Who wins first? LOL. And BW in Edmonton says adds to the atmosphere. Lawn guy adds to the atmosphere on the RP show. That's the whole thing. We got a real fun thing going on here with the Cats and Bolts podcast. And if it was up to me, I'd have Serena on this show like every day, but she's busy. She has a job. She grinds from sun up to sundown. So we do the Panthers Lightning show, and there's a theme there where she won't cheer for the Panthers, and the Panthers fans are trying to get her goat. And she wouldn't make a prediction for round 2. I didn't tell you this. So now Panthers fans are saying, you're not making a prediction because you think Boston's going to win. She's like, you know her well enough, right? She's like, just shut up. Which reminds me, Jen at the Four Seasons wants to know who you are cheering for now in the Stanley Cup playoffs, if anybody.
No, I'm cheering for Canada. I'm one of those guys who will cheer for the next Canadian team. So just because my team's out doesn't mean I'm, not cheering for them. Like, I seen that. Canucks fans won't cheer for Edmonton if Edmonton wins and vice versa. But I'm not there. I'll cheer for the Canadian teams, and I'll cheer for my bracket, which has the Carolina Hurricanes winning the bracket. I'll cheer for my bracket.
This is where social media right now, this is where I enjoy it. The funny stuff, not the fights, but the funny stuff. Have you seen the video of the two guys having a fight in the street? I don't want to do this because we're on national television. I give the finger to you. I don't know if you can do that or not. Although Serena gave me the finger on this week's edition of Cats.
How about that?
The two guys that are giving the finger to each other right in the street, like right in their face to each other, staring each other down and giving them, they're not saying anything. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
I think it's real.
I did see
They're
it.
having a fight. Yeah, and they're like, Canucks and Oilers fans right now. I'm like, that's funny. I don't, again, cheer for whoever you want. Literally cheer for whoever you want. And if it comes to blows, I hope not. Serena really thinks that I'm over-exaggerating, and then I think somebody could get hurt. I think, because there's too many idiots out there. This is what people don't understand. As a mental health professional, people are wound up tighter than ever, man. They're friggin' powder kegs ready to explode. And it just takes a little thing to set them off. And if it's your hockey team losing, that could be enough. I'm not talking about going postal, but fighting in the street, fighting in the bar, fighting in the stands, that wouldn't surprise me. You?
It's not, this is tough, man. This is, real stuff. I don't know that fans need, like, that I'm expecting fans to hold themselves to this high regard, but you kind of should be. You should hold yourself to the regard. Whereas, you should hate the other team. That's what makes going to the games fun. I should hate you and want to get in your face, and I should want nothing more than for you to lose and for you to feel the pain and for me to win and all the rest. It's like a boxer or a MMA fighter or a professional fighter in combat sports. They hate the other guy. They want to beat him. They want to physically beat him. But as soon as the bell goes, you need to stop. Even if he's, as soon as the ref, you have to have that restraint and keep it between the bell. Where in hockey, you can, when that rivalry is crazy, you get in another fan's face and you're beaking back and forth. You can't take it farther than that. You want to punch the guy, because you don't have another comeback in you, and that's the only way to end the argument and win. You just can't do it. You just can't. And that's the fine line that you walk right to the line, and often fans cross it.
You're very, 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 very good at that, managing your emotions for sure. I never used to be, but I'm really good now. It's taken a hell of a lot of work. Colin in Ottawa writes in and he says, you are right to be worried, Rod. For sure there will be fights between Canucks and Oilers fans. Again, there was fights between Panthers and Bruins fans here, and they don't even have a rivalry. Monday night, there was all kinds of videos of them fighting, and it was very distasteful. And Vancouver and Edmonton hate each other. Number 2 only to Calgary and Edmonton. So what do you think's going to happen? I can see it. I feel it. I sense it. By the way, Jen at the Four Seasons says, LOL, good answer, dupes. Here, that you're cheering for a Canadian team. Here's the funny thing. And I can officially say, it's not new, that I've moved to Florida. I have the immigration. This is my home. I'm still coming back to Canada for the summer, and I'd like to do it every summer if I can. But I thought they were just the people were the same, and there was just this invisible line, 49th parallel. No, they're really different. Good ways and bad ways. But I'll give you an example. Nobody would say, I just want a Florida team to win the Stanley Cup. I don't care if it's the Lightning or the Panthers. Said no one ever. It's not a thing. Anywhere. But in Canada, it is. And I love that it is. Not this, I'll cheer for your team after they beat us out thing. That isn't really, it's sportsmanlike, but it's not, I don't expect it. You know what I mean?
No.
But this Canadian winning the Stanley Cup thing is ours, because I'm still Canadian, always will be. And I love that. But it's not a thing anywhere else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And and I worry that it's becoming less of a thing even in Canada. It's one of the things that make the country great. But I feel like we're getting to this point where, like, I don't think Oiler fans would want to see the Leafs win the cup. That wouldn't make them happy. Or Flames fans see Oiler fans win, or Canucks fans see anybody else win. It's Canucks or nothing. So it's a society thing, though, too. But I think, when your team's out, it is a nice thing to cheer for the country and cheer for Canada and hope that one of those remaining teams wins.
Sorry to smile. Just reading the messages here from the Peanut Gallery, the 902 text line for Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers. 111, I love it. 111 Eastern, thank you for pointing it out here. 1111 Mountain.
Beautiful. Let's go.
Manifest a positive outcome. I'm living proof that it works.
LFG.
Blair in Calgary writes in and says, hey, Rod, Blair here. You should cut your grass yourself. Think about the money you would save.
I like it.
It gives the guy a job. Did you meet Long Guy? Or did you at least see him? Because he does live very close by. I can't remember if you saw him or not when you were here.
He came by once, I think.
Okay,
I never met him.
So, yeah. Gary in Penticton, BC. Gary with 2 R's. He writes in, he says, to fix the Leafs, get rid of all current management and coach, trade Marner and Tavares. Newsflash, do the same for the Jays and Raptors. Great show as usual. Thank you. I want to point something else out, too, and I really want your take on this. I think we do have time. Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, NBA, Toronto kid, right, or Canadian anyways, fined $100,000 for throwing a tantrum with the officials. Chad Kelly suspended for half a season by the CFL for his sexual harassment treatment of a female staffer with the Argos. It dawned on me. The leagues are having to parent these kids that weren't parented on their own. You know what I mean? I don't know if you were watching when I said that at the end of hour 1, but when I was 14, I threw a temper tantrum, kicked a hole in the wall of our kitchen because my mom wouldn't let me go to my friend's house. Instead of her disciplining me herself, which she normally did, which included a whack for another time, and I told her to shut up, and it knocked a filling right across the floor, which, by the way, I wasn't mad at her. I was mad at me. This time she goes, you know what? I'm not going to deal with you. Your dad can deal with you when he gets home. I didn't kick holes in walls anymore, ever. Not at our house, not at nowhere. You know what I mean? Those are the lessons that I got.
No, Mom. Please discipline me. Anything but Dad.
Yeah. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like now the leagues have to deal with it. I could be completely wrong, but that was just kind of a intuition shot that I got when I was reading this Jamal Murray story. Deal or no deal? What do you think? Am I on to something or not?
Well, you might be. They definitely have to deal with it and take on that responsibility. It may be more and more and more you need to see a little bit of the leagues dealing with it. But yeah, I think there's a little something to it for sure.
There's another level to this, and it's not, I will never know the answer to this. BW in Edmonton says, how is it this Canadian kid gets fined $100,000, yet LeBron jumps up and down like a little spoiled brat, and people tell him to shh, be quiet. Bro, at what point do we say that's life? That's the way that it is. Some people have a different set of rules than others. It's because he's LeBron and you're a Canadian kid on your first contract. You're not the same. When does that reality set in?
It's the golden rule, right?
But it's not fair.
Is it not? I know.
Not fair. Utah Darren writes in, he goes, Dad's in the 70s. Right?
I feel like the audience we need to say this together, all together now. Fair does not mean the same. Fair does not mean the same. So take that for whatever you want.
Yeah. Paul in Humboldt writes in and he says, Rod, you just described the billet parent's dilemma. I'm not your parent, but you're behaving like a 5-year-old. Sure, let's ship little Johnny off to Humboldt to play for the Broncos, and he's their problem now. Wayne in BC says, that's old school discipline, Rod. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. My lawyer said at some point, Bill Howe, my personal attorney, William Howe, who lives in Sun Lakes, Arizona, or is it Twin Lakes, Arizona? Can't remember, one of the two. At some point, you got to face the music in life. At some point. Some people it happens young, some people it happens old. But at some point, you will always have to face the music. That's from my personal attorney. And I'm very happy that I faced it. And now I'm not going to worry about it no more. It's fantastic. These kids haven't yet. We'll continue in a moment. We'll be right back live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Just ahead of more of myself and the Moose. Hey, today's the day, Wednesday. That means it's time for your movie twosome deal at Landmark Cinemas. But you don't need to be a famous movie twosome like Miss Piggy and Kermit or Han and Chewie to enjoy 2 admissions, 2 medium drinks, a large popcorn, and your choice of candy for one low price. But what you do need is a partner to go with you, because this deal needs to be shared. Check your local listings, landmarkcinemas.com, for showtimes. Landmark Cinemas movie twosome every Wednesday. Let's bring the Moose in. Poll question, just to change things up for a second today, is who will win the Hart Trophy as MVP of the National Hockey League? Your options here. The finalists were named on Tuesday, so that's where I came up with the idea of the poll today. Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche, Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, or Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. Who do you think's leading? Darren, who do you think?
Well, my vote's going to be for Nathan MacKinnon. I think McKinnon's probably leading the vote.
He is. Nathan MacKinnon is leading. 29% saying Cooch and 28% saying Connor McDavid. It'll be interesting to see who wins it. I always reference the guys that I was listening to on NHL radio because I listen to them every day, and I really enjoy listening to them. And Gordy Stellelectricity said if he had a vote, it would be for Kucherov because he factored in on 50% of Tampa Bay's offense. I look at McDavid and say, nobody's had 100 assists in 30 years till this year, and he had a slow start. He hit it, and then like 2 days later, Kucherov did the same thing. Nobody in 30 years, and then 2 guys do it in a week. They're all great, but what makes you say Colorado? Because I don't think you watch a ton of Avalanche games, do you? You live in Toronto.
Not a ton, but I just think he is so important to what they do and the season that they had. Now, Kucherov is very equally as important, and so is McDavid. They're all very important to their team. But I think, McKinnon, another great year, as maybe even quietly, if that's even a thing. And really, Colorado, again, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League, and, he's leading the way. I think when you look at, supporting cast, I honestly have McKinnon 1, Cooch 2, and McDavid 3. Draisaitl, great year. And then look at the year Zach Hyman had. Outstanding season. I'd almost look at Zach Hyman being the MVP of the Edmonton Oilers. There's nobody else on Colorado besides McKinnon, and I don't think there's anybody else on Tampa besides Kucherov who you'd put up for this award this year. Kucherov is so far ahead of the next person in terms of points. So that's how I have him ranked 1, 2, 3.
3 great players. Best thing I ever did lately was watch Pat McAfee for an hour and realize he's not doing anything different than us other than talking about whatever the hell he wants. Whether it's the announcer for the Kentucky Derby having on or the goalie for the Boston Bruins. Thought he was an NFL show. Doesn't matter. My point being, with these players being disciplined by the leagues, it's opened the door of a popular topic of our audience. BW in Edmonton says, I told my daughter's principal that my daughter is not allowed to pick a fight, but she is allowed to finish one. He says, I've never seen a tree hugger turn white. I'm so glad that I got the kid thing out of the way so early, I don't have to deal with it. Maybe you will one day, Darren, maybe you won't. Sitting in that principal's office or just dealing with your kids' stuff, it's ugly. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to, let's just say a former Rough Rider who's a really good friend of mine. I'll tell you later who it was. His daughter was dealing with bullying in school. And the teachers don't want to deal with it. Newsflash, they don't want to deal with it. I don't know why, because if my kid didn't feel safe going to school, which she didn't for a period of time, and the teachers don't do anything about it, that's not a good place to be, but it happens a lot. So they actually brought in the other parent that was bullying my friend's daughter. I don't mind. It was Luke, okay? It was Luke Mullender. Guy's like 6'5", 300 pounds, and tight, not lumpy. He turned to the parent of the other kid and said, your kid lays your hands on my kid again, I'll be laying my hands on you. That was the end of it. And my daughter was she was only in grade 2, but my daughter was being bullied in elementary school by a boy. And I went to the teachers and said, this needs to be dealt with. And they said, well, we don't deal with these things. Once it's off the school grounds, we don't deal with it. Which, whatever, man, I'm sure they have their reasons, but I'm like, well, I got to deal with it. I'm on saying, I went to a 7-year-old kid. It was a boy. I said, you bully her again, I'll be bullying you. I said it to the kid. Nobody else is dealing with it. Well, what would you do?
Well, I mean, I didn't get bullied. I got teased one year. I dealt with it. I got teased by one of my good friends. I had my book. We were walking. It was out of the school grounds. I had my backpack, had a couple of textbooks in it. I swung it and cracked him in the head with it. We both had to sit in the principal's office and talk about why did it happen. He had a big mark on his eye. Hindsight, I should have done it. I could have killed him, or blinded him. Wasn't thinking. You want to talk?
Yep.
Right? We're going to deal with this now. We both had to deal with it, and I got in trouble and all the rest. But I don't know how I would deal with it if I was a parent.
We're getting somewhere, believe it or not. Number 1, Wayne in Victoria, BC says, that's why we love your show, Rod. You cover all sports and more. Jen at the Four Seasons says, my son was bullied for years. Multiple meetings, separate playgrounds. He finally had enough and beat the crap out of that kid. Never bullied him again. Before we do get on point with sports talk, this is kind of sports talk. I was in hockey school. I'd have been 14. And this guy was bullying me relentlessly. Maybe not even that old. Maybe 12 to 14. relentlessly bullying me. And it was just a goalie school, just for goalies. And finally, I told my dad, I was crying. And my dad went to the instructors of the camp, and they said, we can't do anything about it. I don't know why they don't. They got to have a reason, but I don't know. And my dad's like, well, guess you got to deal with it on your own. And in retrospect, Dad goes, I said, how do I deal with it? He goes, that'll come to you. So the next day, the kids started in on it. His name was Ryan, by the way. And I walked right up to him. I had my pads on. You've been in those dressing rooms. Just pants, nothing above. Gold pads and pants. I just walked right up to him. Whack! And blood started running down his nose. And that was the end of that. He never bullied me again. Are we advocating this today? I don't know.
No.
I'm just telling you, it happened. I'm not telling you how to deal with it. That's how we dealt with it. Yeah, exactly.
I don't need to get an email. Rod and Darren told me to knock him in the nose. So I did. And be in the news.
Exactly. Here's me talking about Oilers and Canucks fan fights. John says, great stories, Rod. We've all gone through this in life. It's far easier when it's you than your kid. That sucks. But it is what it is. I'll just go back to what I was saying earlier. What the hell was I saying earlier? Oh, the leagues are being left to discipline the players because their parents never did it. That's what I think, man. Bob in Saskatoon writes in, he says, I agree with Darren. To prove the point, McKinnon took apart the Jets' first round. It's too fast. I was thinking about this. Okay, for the people that are watching in Edmonton, because our ratings show it's like our third highest city, fourth, depending on the day. Edmonton and Calgary are third and fourth highest cities for viewership. We all think the Oilers are going to win. It's just a question of how many games, okay? And to pick how many games is kind of worthless. It doesn't really matter. It's like whether you win or lose. That's why we haven't talked a lot about the series yet. They haven't played a game yet. 92% of people in our Instagram poll feel the Oilers are going to win tonight, so why play the game? I got more time for the Winnipeg, Colorado thing, where Bob said McKinnon ate up the Jets in round one. They all did. But if you're the Jets, what have they been saying? Like, I like being where I am in Florida because I'm not getting inundated and pounded with hockey coverage 24/7 because sometimes I do like a break. But I am kind of curious what they're saying about the Jets. They've already made a coaching change. Is that where it ends? Have they come to grips with what happened yet? Because I feel like they've been in mourning for like a week, and for good reason.
Yeah. I think they're coming to grips now. They're kind of in that acceptance stage. I don't know if they're quite ready to ramp up for another year yet. You got the rest of the summer to do that. But now they're kind of accepting, okay, you're no longer angry. I think the anger stage and the depression stage hopefully is gone now that the playoffs have moved on. But, I don't know that much needs to change. I mean, ideally, you wouldn't have made a coaching change either. You need to run it back and maybe a couple of little tweaks to stay excited and keep things fresh. But no, you're going to be okay in Winnipeg. You're going to be right back. You should be right back in the mix again next year.
And by the way, Winnipeg is our number 2 city for viewership. So that's why I don't mind talking about the Jets. Is it saleable to Jets fans that you're fine? Because it didn't feel fine when they were losing in 5 to Colorado.
I know.
Yeah. That's why I asked. Hey, John Ohm writes and says, it's too early in Winnipeg, Jets land. We're still in shock. I think he's on to something. I don't think they've come out of it, man. They didn't see this coming. They had a great team. They finished ahead of Colorado in the standings. They had home ice, and then they got shellacked like an outhouse toilet seat. Before they even knew what was going on, the series was over. That's hard to take. Cheveldayoff's got a great team. They've, although as Les Lazaruk said, something's missing. Like, I don't want to pick at a wound because Winnipeg's been great to me, and I like to say that I'm great to Winnipeg, but Paul Maurice is still going. They're not. And he's smiling like a butcher's dog. Like, maybe Les is right. He's from there, Les Lazaruk. Something's missing. And I don't know what that is, and that's painful. It's like our friend Janelle in Saskatoon, who, when the Leafs lost, you know Janelle, we love her. Leafs lost in Game 7. She's like, why can't the teams I love me back? And then the Blades lose in Game 7 last night. She's a bigger Blades fan than a Leaf fan. And I'm like, you poor thing. I don't know what to do. I want to give you a hug. It's purgatory. It really is purgatory, right?
It's a gut punch, big time. Big time.
Oh, nut punch, gut punch, everything. BW in Edmonton writes in and says, Rod, you are starting to sound like the Oilers' Bob Stauffer. LOL. No, I'm not. I'm pretty darn sure. No. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Jets, bring on the offseason. I'm happy to focus on the other home teams for the summer. I think we can use a little break from the Jets. Yeah, well, they're never going to listen to me. It was too much. It was too intense. Like every other Canadian market, man. You didn't do anything wrong, but I was talking earlier about self-care. Do what you need to do to feel good. And if that's taking a break from Winnipeg Jets hockey, I advocate for that. Looks like we're done, Moose. You go have a great day.
Sounds good. You too.
This should be good. Pittsburgh Penguins great Ryan Malone joins us next, and there's lots to talk about with him. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Laquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
business owners, and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues. When we talk hockey, as you know, it's for Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, Alberta. Making your everyday common beer experience an exceptional one at Common Crown. Check them out, commoncrown.ca. Ryan Malone's from Pittsburgh. You played in the NHL 647 games. Penguins, Lightning, and Rangers. Ryan Malone joins us now. He's been on the program before. And the last time, hey, Ryan, welcome back. You were spearheading the movement to save Robert Morris University, which my niece had committed to, if you remember. She had to go to Mercyhurst because of that. And I never heard much. I heard you saved it. Is that what we're talking about today?
No, we were talking playoff hockey and all kinds of hockey things, I think. But, yeah, we ended up, all of us, the hockey community saved it. So it was great to be a part of. They were the only Division I programs in Pittsburgh, the men's and women's programs that were unfortunately cut, but they are back. Last year was the first year. Got to go see the opening game there, and you really forget about that college hockey atmosphere with the band and all the guys are, the intensity, and it was great to see. So it was great for the city of Pittsburgh. We all rallied there to pull together to help teams out.
You probably haven't talked about that for a while, but I haven't. That's got to feel good to be a part of pulling that off, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I think way at the beginning, I understand, I think the power of the hockey community. It is a small community. I've been fortunate to be a part of it a long time with my dad playing in the NHL and kind of growing up in the rinks there in Pittsburgh at the Civic Arena back in the day when my dad was the head scout. So very fortunate to be part of the hockey community and understand the power we have when we all come together. You look at even the alumni event in St. Louis a few weeks ago. I think we raised $800,000 for the V Foundation, the Cancer Foundation. Supporting Kelly Chase, all of our other brothers battling. So it really shows what the alumni, in general, every hockey community there around the world, that what we can do when we come together. So very special to be part of that.
Yeah, well, congratulations for your role in that. And you bring the fans in. It's a very powerful force, as you say. Well, I'll tell you what, coming out of the regular season, best ending in NHL history, right? Going right down to the last hour. We thought it was going to be the best first round ever. Now we're into round 2. Have these been the best playoffs ever? Well, the Penguins aren't in them, so I wouldn't think you would think that they are. But what's been your assessment so far of these Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I think playoff hockey is just a whole different animal. So I think everyone tunes in regular season, when you catch some games when you can, but, playoffs are on you. Plan the nights to watch the games because they are so exciting. The back and forth, the hits, the guys just sacrificing it, laying all on the line is, to me, there's no better playoffs than hockey playoffs. So it's just been great to watch. Some great games last night going into overtime. As you mentioned a little earlier there with Colorado, they kind of been under the radar, surprisingly. So I know they took care of the Jets there a little easier than people thought, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes when you look at the Lightning as well, got obviously outed by the Panthers, but those games were neck and neck, and bounce here or there could have gone maybe the Lightning way as well. So you always tune in for those playoff games, and it'll be exciting to see what happens here down the stretch.
I'll tell you what, whoever came up with that slogan, because it's the cup, deserves a raise. The person's probably not even still around, but because it's the cup, we do some crazy things. You mentioned Florida Lightning got bounced in 5 by the Panthers. I would be very interested because you spent so much time in Tampa with the Lightning. Where are they? Are they plateaued? Are they going down? Are they just retooling and going up? Where are the Lightning, do you think?
I think with their core, I mean, it'll be interesting. A little surprise, obviously, Stammer's not, signed up yet. I think he's, for the last decade, been a tremendous leader. You look at what he's done for the team, on the ice and then off the ice, and that leadership, you definitely see come playoff time how that's needed, especially when you bring in the younger pieces, which they have. You look at the Hagel this year and some other pieces. I think they're right there. They got the core is still there with that experience, and Stammer looks like he was just taking his game to another level even this playoff. So exciting to see him continue to thrive, and hopefully they can ink that deal and continue to move forward. But I definitely see in the next few years they have a chance to grab one or two.
I was in the room when John Cooper was asked after this series about Steven Stamkos' future, and he's like, he belongs here. He goes, it shouldn't be a long conversation between him and Julian Breezeball. He goes, but it's also not my decision. I shouldn't speak for them. Who knows how it's going to go? Tell me something about John Cooper. Would that not surprise you that he would answer it that way?
Yeah. I mean, obviously his hands, I mean, he can obviously, say what he wants, but it is at the end of the day a business as well. And as players, you forget that sometimes. But, man, to see where, he come in as an 18-year-old and where the Lightning were, and then just actually moving back to Tampa here recently, a few months ago, to see where the city is now and what a hockey town it is. I mean, when your captain's getting the Mark Messier Leadership Award, I think that says a lot about his character, and those guys don't come around very often. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I definitely believe he should be a Bolt for life, and should probably get a nice big statue there too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right beside Phil. But I'll tell you, kudos to you again for being a part of building that, because I'm over here near Sunrise, and the Panthers fans, we all went over there in the playoffs, and they looked around. They're like, we got a long ways to go. So the Lightning have really built something, and good for them and for everybody that's part of that. But you are a Pittsburgh guy. You must be following the Penguins. Like Kyle Dubas, I thought, was brought in to save everything. And then Erik Karlsson. And it didn't happen. Where are they going?
Well, I think you look at their stats and the way they played. I mean, actually, their 5-on-5 play was, I think top 3 or 5 in the league all year. And I think just that the power play there, for whatever reason, just wasn't clicking. And those extra goals can definitely put you in the mix. Even if their power play is in the top 15, they probably would have snuck in. They definitely had a few games slip away in the third period where they could have closed out a little better. But, even when people are counting him out, Sid's leading the charge. His mentality doesn't change. He's there to do it the right way and, be relentless. So, I mean, it is, I would never count those guys out as long as those guys got the skates on.
Well, I'll tell you what. Not him, not as a leader. I think he's going to play for a long time because he's not only trying very hard, he's still very effective. But you follow the league. There's this narrative that he's getting frustrated, that they're not what they were. And could you blame him? Like, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, he plays to win the Stanley Cup and be in the playoffs. That's, as we know, that's the most fun time of year is to play for playoff hockey, to try to go after the Stanley Cup. And I think for him, he probably is a little frustrated. I mean, he wants to win. So I think ultimately, he does what he can. And like you said, he can only control so much. And that's the way he takes care of himself, the way he leads, the way he plays. And the rest needs some help from management a little bit. And from being in Pittsburgh and actually getting to call a few games, personally, you would like to see, some fourth line guy in there to just help give those guys a little more space. When you see Sid and Letang and Gino always getting punched in the head or leading the charge in the physical department as well. Just I think maybe from my role when I was playing, it's tough to watch sometimes, and your belly gets into it. I was talking to Max Talbot and Colby Armstrong a little bit about that. So, but those guys still are, so passionate and driven. I would never count those guys out. So hopefully they can bring in some pieces there that can put them over the hump.
Good chat. Hey, I can't let you go because I don't know when I'm going to talk to you again. Producer Clark said there was something charity-related that you wanted to mention. So if it's not Robert Morris University, what was it that he was referring to?
Oh, we next week, our foundation, the Malone Family Foundation, is hosting a Black and Gold Breaking the Mold event. We partnered with MTV on their Mental Health Action Day. So we're bringing awareness to action, and our action is hockey. So we're focusing on our veterans and first responders and how the game helps bring people together and helps people overcome their challenges. So we're very fortunate to have a celebrity game, a hero celebrity game back in Pittsburgh. So we have Brett Kiesel from the Steelers is joining us again. And last year he wore his Steeler helmet the whole time. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then we have 6 different teams locally there around Pittsburgh. We have different representatives from the Pittsburgh Icemen. We have the fireman team, Pittsburgh Warriors, Johnstown Generals. It's about the Warriors. So different veteran teams all represented in the game as well. And we have, even the night before, we have a little Q&A talk about mental health. We have Corey Hirsch coming into play in the game, tell his story, really highlighting what the hockey community is doing already in that mental health space and how you can use hockey as healing. So our tagline is hockey is healing. And if you want to support, you can check it out at hockeyishealing.org. And, it's the second year of the game, and we're expected a good turnout and then continue to grow. And like I said earlier, even about the RMU opportunity, it's really just highlighting what the hockey community can do in a positive realm. And we're excited to be a part of it.
Guy, when it's over, because obviously this is a big deal, come back on and tell me about it, because I'm a certified mental health coach, licensed interventionist in the state of Florida. Just got to get talking about it. So you do you, and come back and let's talk about it more, man. Kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, we'll definitely reach out. We're hoping to do, our foundation does these Warrior Hockey Academies where it's free for veterans. We kind of run them through like a training camp as hockey on the ice, and then off the ice kind of teach them some skills, mind, body, spirit stuff. So we're hoping to do one in Florida, so we'll definitely be reaching out. We'd love to get you involved.
Nice. Namaste. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ryan Malone, NHL veteran. How about that? I could go on for another hour now on that. Yeah. Write it down, Clark. We got to get him on in a couple weeks once they do that thing.
Right on.
We are coming right back with a sports update and one final audience takeover. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
I can fill this section with just sports, so he's not just talking, Rick Regan. This is, if you got something to say, say it. This is the last time for today that you can. 902-518-3033. Like Tony in Cochrane, he writes it, he says, Tony from George Fox country. As an old school parent of 3 boys, yes, all were spanked and they turned out to be great men and parents themselves. I remember getting a life lesson when I was coaching tyke hockey. The kids were all acting up and not listening to what drills we were doing, so I blew the whistle and lined them up. When I raised my voice to them, half started crying, while the other half were still acting up. Different parenting styles. Yes, the coaches' billets and leagues are left to raise some of these kids. It just dawned on me today. Chad Kelly suspended half a season. Jamal Murray of the Nuggets fined $100,000 for throwing a tantrum. It's on the leagues. These poor commissioners, eh? They didn't sign up for that. I'm not sure $37 million a year is worth it. Is that what Goodell's getting now? Last I heard. Sports update: the Vancouver Canucks host the Edmonton Oilers in Game 1 of their best-of-7 second-round Stanley Cup playoff series tonight at Rogers Arena. It's the first time the Oilers and Canucks have met in the postseason since 1992. Meanwhile, the Boston Bruins and Florida Panthers play Game 2 of their second-round series here tonight in Sunrise. Boston won the opener 5-1. I'm going tonight with Jersey Jim Behringer. I'll be picking him up before long. We're going to spend the afternoon together and have a big time, because that's what makes me happy. Top-seeded Toronto opens the Professional Women's Hockey League playoffs tonight against visiting Minnesota. Can you believe they picked them to be their first-round opponent? I still love that. It'd be interesting to see how far that goes, or how that series goes. Montreal faces Boston in the other semifinal. They're best-of-5s. That series starts Thursday. The Canadian Elite Basketball League, the CEBL, as I learned this week it's called, announced today their CEBL on TSN broadcast team as the league begins its season Tuesday, May 21st with the Calgary Surge, home to the Edmonton Stingers in the Scotiabank Saddledome. A crew that again includes current and former NBA broadcasters like Chuck Swirsky, Rod Black, Hit the, how about that? Rod Black.
How about that? Hot damn.
Yeah. Hot damn. I like that even better. Amy Audibert of your Miami Heat. Yeah, not yours, but mine. And Amy's a Toronto gal. She does a great job. Paul Jones and Nikki Reyes. They'll be joined by three-time NBA champion and Chicago Bulls radio color commentator Bill Winnington and head coach of the Windsor Lancers women's basketball program and former GM and coach of the Hamilton Honey Badgers, Chantel Valley. There's just one game on tap in the NBA playoffs tonight as the New York Knickerbockers look to take a 2-0 series lead with a win against the Pacers. Knicks guard Jalen Brunson scored 43 points in New York's 121-117 victory in Monday's opener. Sports update is for Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Wayne in Victoria, BC. Go Canucks, go! Jen at the Four Seasons says, no, Wayne. Oh, boy. Don't fight, please. Glenn in Medicine Hat. Bullied for most of my life in school. Sadly, I handled it by becoming a bully. What the heck? The cool kids were doing it to me and nobody stopped them. It's all just so destructive. Boom. Well, I love you, Glenn. I really do, and I appreciate your contributions to this show. Enjoy the sports, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place.
Who has more fun than us?